as half of the group ran off to the fishing district. Taffy, Yulia, Yuvari, and Runarian, you all decide to sort of team up together and go towards the temple district, which is kind of like the midsection of the city, all of the somewhat nicer area around the temple before you got into the poorer fishing district, and not nearly as nice as what you had seen in the Nobles' Quarter for the brief stay you had in Vaalguard the first time around. Of course, as you enter into the city, the Temple of the Triad is as looming as ever before you at the end of the street. And so, as you all begin making your way down the street, kind of trying to stick off to the side, or perhaps avoiding most of the crowded, busy street, as you all are still wanted criminals in the country of Laird, as far as you're aware. And the streets of Vaalguard are as busy as ever, with people packing all of the streets every which way you look. There's a mixture of tension and excitement in the air, and as you go amidst the civilians, you do see that, you know, there's quite a number of guard patrols kind of scouting the areas as they go. But despite the perhaps heavier eye of the militia upon the general populace, people seem very excited about the upcoming coronation, or so it seems from the bits of conversation you all pick up as you go. As you all are getting about ready to leave, Taffy, you hear a familiar voice calling from behind.
No! I don't like familiar voices.
Oh, down there, kitty cat. Where do you think you're going? And as you turn, you'll see the very familiar-looking Canis quickly approaching.
The queen returns.
he jolts and his shoulders shoot up as he turns around, right? Like he side glances behind him. He sees Samoya coming after him. And he's his eyes go wide. And normally you'd see him get flustered, or maybe he'd smile, or be a little chatty or whatever. But he's just got this frown on his face, oh god. What? And he's as he sees Samoya walking up to him, he kind of holds his paw. He's looking around to make sure that to see if anyone else is paying attention to him. But he's holding his paw to stay where you are. Don't come any closer.
Mm-hmm. And she kind of stops, takes a quick glance around. Actually, go ahead and roll perception.
We'll roll what?
Perception.
Perception. Okay.
Yeah.
Perception. Boom. Ah, hell yeah.
Oh.
You tell Samoya to stop, and she does, looking a little apprehensive, and gives a quick glance around, and your eyes kind of do the same thing, wanting to make sure that, no one's looking your way or watching you, but you don't notice anything.
So he's kind of stunned. He can't really believe it. He kind of narrows his eyes, and then he kind of glances to Runarian. Just to, what is he doing right now?
Runarian. Oh god, oh yeah, he did briefly meet Samoya, I believe. Yeah, because she'd come back to the estate at one point. Yeah, Runarian is looking a little confused. Perhaps trying to process and remember exactly who this Canis is approaching them. And then looks over at Taffy, and he'll say, a friend of yours, I'm assuming?
We'll see. Just keep an eye on my back real quick.
All right.
He's and he says it pretty kind of low, and he's He's got the he moves to the side of the horse where the reins are in his left hand, but he's got his right hand resting on the hilt of his rapier as he slowly approaches Samoya. Occasionally casting a glance left and right. Because remember, the last time he dealt with a padlock agent, it turned out wasn't a great time. So he doesn't really know. Yeah, it's like, so he doesn't know why Samoya's here, and he doesn't fully trust her. So he's gonna slowly walk on up until he gets far enough away that he's about he's got like a 5-foot gap between, like, mechanically speaking, right? He's got this 5-foot square between him and her. And he just, he doesn't want to like speak over the general crowd volume, but it's loud enough for her to hear. He's like, Samoya, what are you doing here? What are you still doing here?
And as you approach, your one hand on the hilt of your rapier, you see this, like, her look of caution turns to a look of hurt. As her brow, like, furrows together and her eyes seem to grow a little wide. And she just stands there, quietly, like, wringing her hands together, looking suddenly just very, like, uncertain. And as you get close enough and you speak to her, she'll say, well, I know you told me to go, but with everything that happened and everything that happened really soon after you all left, it seemed like a better idea to stay to try to help with the... Oh, there's just been a lot going on.
And so he looks at her for a minute, and then he very carefully he looks back behind to see if Renarian's still watching him or, like, is behind him, just to make sure before he asks this next question.
Yeah, Ari's still there. I don't know, Yulia, Yuvari, would you guys still be hanging around, or did you, like, already kind of take off?
For Yuvari personally, I feel like she trusts Renarian and Taffy to handle themselves, so I think they would have split at this point.
Just quietly slipped around, blending into the crowd towards the bakery.
Okay, so as you look behind you, Taffy, you see, Ari's still standing there, just kind of watching you and Samoya, standing rather relaxed. But yeah, you do notice that the two tiefling have left.
Okay. So he gets very tense all of a sudden. He kind of takes shifts his stance a little bit, like he's about ready to bolt, and he grips down, he tightens the grip on his rapier, the holster of his rapier. He takes a deep breath, and he asks, Samoya, I need you to tell me, are you working for Gwen?
No, of course not.
Do you know what he's done?
A little bit. After you all left town so fast, I did try to get back in contact with him, but he's been avoiding anything I've been trying to send him, so I didn't know if he was dead or if something had happened.
So, all right, I'm going to make an insight check to see if,
Yeah, feel free.
And given Taffy's nature to just believe people, I'm going to roll this at disadvantage.
Okay, if you would like.
Insight. There it is.
Please.
Okay, so he because he really wants to believe Samoya.
Aww.
He lets out a sigh of relief. And he's like, okay, all right. And he relaxes, he slacks his stance, He takes his hand off of his rapier, and then he kind of moves closer up to Samoya, and he doesn't say anything. He just walks up and then gives her a hug.
Oh, and she will very happily like hug him back as her tail starts to wag.
He's like, it's been rough, Gwen. And he hushes himself. Gwen's the one who set up Sturkin to deliver the assassination supplies.
No, really?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it, but not out here. We need to. Do you have somewhere safe we can go?
What? What are you all even doing here?
I can explain further, but we need to.
Okay. All right. Was there somewhere you two were heading?
Not yet. Not yet. We were looking to see if there was somewhere we could lay low for a bit and assess the, current state of Vaalguard.
I think I have somewhere we can go. Like a little safe house, or at least an area that I hang out with a lot that has been really good, so it shouldn't be too busy this time of day. As you walk in, you see there's a rather tired-looking, strung-out woman standing at the counter. It's the female half-elf standing at the counter with her head held between her hands, her long tendrils of flaxen hair curling between her fingers. And she looks up at the two of you as you enter, as a small chime of a bell goes off to signal your arrival. And she straightens up, brushing aside some of her hair, and gives you both a small smile as her gaze focuses upon Yulia. And she'll say, Yulia, I certainly never expected to see you here again. Is there anything I can get you or help you with?
Yeah. Hi. A lot of things have happened. And I'm sorry. I promise I'm not gonna cause you both any trouble. But I just wanted to make sure that you were both okay, and maybe just, I don't know, just how things have been.
Fine enough. Been rather busy, and Briagi has taken up a number of extra shifts around the city. She's out working right now, so my apologies she's not here. But we've been keeping up well, especially now with this coronation around the corner. The city's been flooded with newcomers and travelers, all waiting either for the coronation or I guess for the, royalty and nobles of the other countries to come.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh no, she was just saying, I can imagine, hopefully the business has been good enough, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. And as you two are chatting, let me see, Taffy.
Oh no.
Samoya has taken you and Runarian to this little bakery.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Neat.
Yuvari's like, oh, there you two are.
DM subtly says, stop splitting up!
It's fine. And as the three of you enter in, Mira, Yulia, and Yuvari, you'll see her kind of look over your shoulders and give a small smile and wave to greet the new customers. And Samoya will wave back, and then she'll get your attention, Taffy, and she'll probably try to pull you over to one of the little corner tables, unless you want to try to catch the two tieflings first, as you do see them standing up at the counter speaking with the half-elf woman.
He'll wait for now. He'll, because it's basically like, oh, look, I found Samoya. Now we're here.
Yeah.
He might wave them at them as they enter, if they're paying attention.
Yuvari waves back. after hearing the bell go off. Oh,
He'll
you
point
found your
towards
girlfriend.
his tail
and Yulio,
flips around.
Yulio would just look and say, "Oh, hi, Samoya. Been a while."
Hey, good to see you all again.
Yeah, hopefully won't be staying too long.
And Mira to you, Yulia, will say, well, oh, looks like all your friends are here. You know what? Why don't I get you all something nice to eat? Just a little snack on me.
Oh, that would be nice. Can I help you?
Oh, no, I have, a batch of something cooking in the oven. It should be done in a few more minutes. If you want to have a seat and then we can catch up. So as Yulia turns, you don't turn immediately as you're kind of looking at Mira, and she's looking at Yulia for a moment before she catches your eye, and just gives you this kind of tight, not incredibly, just very tight, very curt kind of smile before she'll turn and head back into the kitchen. And there's just something feels kind of off to you, though you can't really place if it's just your paranoia or if there's something going on. Have you all happened to go by the fishing district?
Some of us
Yuvari.
did, but we haven't.
Yeah.
Us here haven't been there yet.
They burned it down.
The whole district?
They what?
Yeah, it was supposedly, rumor has it, that it was backed by the church, of whole thing, saying that, oh, well, they just want to clean up the city and, make it nice. So, yeah, they burnt a lot of it down, and half of it's rebuilt now to look more or less like the rest of it, and the rest of the fishing district is just kind of burnt buildings and rubble.
You don't burn a district down to fix it up. What are they doing?
What happened to the people?
Yeah, are they okay?
Well, a lot have been displaced and forced out of the city. Some might not have made it out.
Oh no.
Taffy's like resting his mouth, like his hand over his mouth, like, like that's just gonna make things worse.
Right.
Did they really just destroy it and then just did nothing for them?
Yeah.
Man.
Fortunately. So that's what a lot of people have been getting upset about. And she'll look at Taffy. You remember Famaya, right? The leader of the Swift Cloaks?
Yeah, her.
So she's been really upset over everything that's happened, understandably. She's kind of leading this rebel group, more or less. I'm kind of working with them, kind of doing my own thing a little bit. But, I mean, if you guys were interested, I could try to, give you directions to one of her contacts so you can try to work with them, against what's happening, or at the very least to get, Caraniel out of prison.
So Taffy stares at the table for a minute, just thinking for a second. And then he leans back and he's sort of like tapping on his leg. His leg's kind of bouncing. And he's like, yeah, no, this is just cruel. This can't be legal at all. Yeah, I think working with the under, we need to get like a network going to get people out of the city. We need to get aid to be able to come in here. Oh, right. Samoya, have you been in contact with any other Padlock Guild agents? At all?
Not yet. I've sent a few letters back to the guild house in Abydos, but it seems they've been running into some trouble there with some of the merchant houses, so I haven't been able to get a whole lot. I've gotten some more supplies, but it's about the best I've gotten.
Okay. And he kind of sighs a little bit, or out of relief. Only contact with the main office. I don't know if you've ever met Gwen. He's another agent out over here in Lariad. I hope I said that right. He's a bad agent, and we need to report him. But I don't know the full extent of if he's involved. Other agents might be involved, and it could be real hairy, and we don't know who we can trust right now. So, only keep in contact with the main office at the moment. If something happens, and you go in your next letter, make sure to mention that. I haven't been able to send anything myself yet. I've been sort of dealing with survival at the moment.
Right, of course. And at about that time now, you'll hear footsteps approaching as Mira approaches you all, holding a small tray with what appears to be some freshly baked cookies that you can smell the gooey chocolate chips from here as she comes to you guys. And she'll walk up and offer out the tray, giving a small smile to you all as she says, sorry that took a bit. These are freshly made for all of you.
Oh.
She'll offer it out to you all.
You know what? This is exactly what I need right now.
Yuvari will take the plate, but she's not going to eat it. She's just kind of stare down Mira as she takes it and puts it on her table.
Taffy just starts eating cookies. He's just
Julia's
like, finally,
also
something
gonna pick up one.
Comfort food, like, thank you. I need it right now. I can't wait till he dies, man.
Yes,
No.
Samoya and Runarian will also just take cookies and kind of munch on one. You said like Yulia was picking at one.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. And yeah, she'll just kind of give a small nod to you all, and then just goes back to the counter, back to what she was doing. And looking at the cookies, I mean, they look about as good as, you particularly, Yulia, notice they look about as good as ever, maybe a little more moist than they usually are. Might just be kind of a bad batch, but it still tastes fantastic. But as you all kind of sit here and munch upon your treats, Samoya will quickly begin to speak up again, and she'll say, as far as everything goes, I know probably your best person to talk to is this guy named Robert. He's a carpenter, kind of on the other side of the city. I don't know if any of you have ever met him before.
I can't remember if Taffy actually talked to a Robert.
Well, I was about to say, because I think it was Taffy.
It was
I forget who else was there.
It was Arca, Yuvari, and Yulia.
Oh, what?
Oh.
No, I thought Taffy was there because he did the locks on his door.
I did
Yes,
the
Taffy was doing the walks, but I don't think he was present for the conversation.
I think that might have been after, like, during the
right,
week
right,
down
right.
when I was running around trying to sell
Right.
padlock equipment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Taffy, you don't recognize the name, but Yulia and Yuvari, you do recognize Robert, and especially once she mentions Carpenter, and you do remember the older gentleman you all had gone to see that seemed like very good friends with Arca, who was actually the ex-Swiftblade member, or Swift Cloak member, excuse me.
Can't even remember your own guilds.
I know.
Listen,
There's
there's
so
a lot
many.
of them.
And so Samoya says, well, it's the 3rd of Tree Sleep. I think his coronation's gonna be on the 7th. So we've got a few days, and it might kind of get a little more difficult by tomorrow, as I know a lot of the like emissaries or other royal families are supposedly going to be showing up soon.
Okay. So
That's
if
not
we can
enough
make a move
time.
tonight, then we'll have to
Yeah.
try for it. All right, so we need to get in contact with who there are our underground friends and come up with a plan for escape and one for see if we can get him out of here before by nightfall, before morning rise tomorrow. That's our timetable, at least currently.
And you'll see Samoya grins, toothily as she gets back up onto her feet, and almost as soon as she's standing again, you see her almost like double over as she like puts her hands on her stomach, looking suddenly uncomfortable and almost in pain. And she just says, "Oh, I don't feel so good. And I need you all to please make
There it is.
Constitution saves
Oh,
for me."
that's what I was waiting for.
Neato.
Yes, well, Ari.
Constitution saves.
Constitution
Aw,
saves.
man, I'm
Oh,
so
boy.
bad at this. Oh man.
Oh, Jesus!
Ah, jeez.
All right, an 8, 2, a 7, and an 11.
Now,
Oh,
did-
fantastic.
Did
Sorry, real quick, can you
Yuvari?
check Discord?
Okay.
I don't think you've
yes.
already actually.
Actually, Yuvari, you did not eat one, so never mind. Yours
Okay.
will not count.
You're the only one healthy among us.
Yuvari's just looking around at all these double over companions going, "Oh, what the fuck?
You-
What
Julius-
the fuck?"
Yulia stands up, and then I'm assuming the same feeling kind of just hits. It's like, oh no.
And, so, as, Samoya stands up and you see her just look incredibly ill, the rest of you, other than Yuvari, also feel
What?
this, like, queasiness kind of come over you, and, like, your stomach
Ugh.
starts to hurt as if someone just, like, punched you right in the gut. And because you all failed your saving throws, you are all going to take 25 points of poison damage.
I'm half dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh
my
god. Oh my god, I need to do this math. Oh no.
Mm. That's the good shit.
Oh.
That's the good
Oh
poison.
Jesus.
And as you all seem to, feel this, and also you're Taffy and Yulia and Ari, you are now poisoned.
Oh, baby.
Oh,
I love being
fantastic.
poisoned. I gotta go look that status
Fantastic.
effect up real quick.
Yeah. And as you all kind of seem to be showing signs of clear, like, distress and, like, nausea, Mira from over by the counter will say, "I'm really sorry about all of this." And Yuvari, if you look at her, you'll notice that she's mostly eyeing Yulia down with this look of almost, like, hatred on her face. And, something maybe... Oh, I'm sorry?
Oh, go ahead.
And hatred, and also something like almost a little sad, but not sympathetic, just something just sad behind her eyes. And she'll continue speaking mostly to Yulia. "I told you I didn't want to be involved, but now that they've taken Briagi, the shop is all I have left. I won't let them take that too. I won't end up like all those traitors in the fishing district."
Oh.
You.
I'm gonna start. I'm tearing up right now. Oh my god.
Oh,
And Yulia just like now hearing that, like the tears do spring to their eyes, and they look to me and it's like, "What do you mean they took her?"
That little note you left. Guards happened to notice it, and she's dead.
Oh, Taffy just killed someone. Oh no.
Oof.
Ooh.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was trying to warn you. I was trying to let you know.
Not sorry enough. Now get the hell out of my bakery.
And Yuvari's gonna go around to like the companion, seeing as she's like the only one who can actually stand up and like actually move, and try to like help them up to their feet if they're like just struggling to do so. And she's gonna turn to Mira and go, "You'll get yours. I'm sorry, but this is not the way to go about it. Revenge is a long, fucking twisted path."
What a hypocrite.
I know. I'm a fucking hypocrite. I know. I never said she
Had to say
wasn't.
it, man.
Shit, we wasn't.
It's okay.
Mira will just glare at you, Yuvari, as you help your friends up onto their feet. And you all manage to get up and begin to kind of stumble your way outside. As soon as you get outside the bakery doors, you'll notice that you're very much not alone, in the sense that
Oh boy.
there's not just people milling about. There are guards here, facing you all with their weapons out and pointed directly at you in an obvious surrounded ambush. There's about, looks to be 6 of them surrounding the door
Okay.
as you walk out.
Taffy barely able from standing up straight. He I assume, is the street busy? Is it a bit, what is it, like late evening? Is it, getting dark?
No, it's like midday at the
Okay.
moment. Yeah, you guys got here like pretty early on in the day.
Okay. He looks over at Samoya like, oh god, what have I done? I have pulled poor Samoya into this, he pretty mortified, barely capable of keeping up what's going on, but he does sort of slowly put his paws up because he doesn't know what else to do at the moment.
Okay, this is going to be really stupid, but Yuvari is going to cast Wall of Fire in front of her.
Oh boy!
And Yuvari is going to lean over to the other companions and go, "I'm going to make a distraction. Y'all need to, book it. Book it as far as you can go. As fast as you can go."
Upon hearing this and seeing the wall of fire get thrown up, he gets down into a getting ready to sprint stance, and is going to basically follow the first person, whoever direction they run, because he doesn't want to split up too much. He does call back out. He kind of very as quickly as he can. Kind of turns to Samoya, and he's like, "Listen, you either need to regroup with us later, or you need to run with us, but you gotta go now."
Someone is gonna have to pick up Yulia, because they are currently on the ground, just tears streaming down the face, just muttering, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Taffy's
God
gonna run
damn
over
it.
and basically grab her by under the arms, pick her up,
Oh,
and then,
no.
as best he can, drag her in a direction.
And Yulia is very out of it, but she does hear Taffy. She just says, "I got her killed, Taffy. And I ruined Mira's life."
And if you don't move, you're going to join them. Now, come on, we can fix it later, but we can't fix anything if you're dead.
How can I fix this?
We'll think of something. Now run.
"I'm sorry about your friends, but you need to get the fuck out of here."
There we go. All right, so, Yeah, Yuvari, you have conjured this wall of flame, and as you do, you kind of hear Ari saying, like, well, wait, but it's far too late now, as the fire engulfs most of the street in front of you all. You hear people suddenly screaming and crying out at this sudden burst of fire in the street, and you're fairly certain there were probably a few civilians who just got caught in the middle of that.
Oh, no!
Sorry, my bad.
You hear one of the guards shout to the others, arrest these fools. And as they appear to be moving in, moving around the flames of this firewall you have summoned. Let me see, hold on. Yuvari, you have really no time to react, as there is one soldier you all did not notice, perched up upon a rooftop across the street, and you only notice them because you feel a sudden pain erupt in your chest. And hold on, controls concentration. So you've already make a Constitution save for me real quick.
Okay.
Oh my god, so much is happening already. Oh god!
God damn.
Oh, you're good. And the rest of you see now protruding from Yuvari's chest are 2 crossbow bolts.
Oh dear.
While somehow, Yuvari, you maintain enough concentration upon your spell, or so you think, you find yourself falling down onto your knees as you feel that they've both likely pierced through very important arteries, if not directly into your heart. And as you fall down, Yuvari, the rest of you will see the flames of her firewall vanish, almost kind of as quick as they had come. As Yuvari crumples down onto the floor. So at the moment, Yuvari will be incapacitated, as Renarian, rather than running forward to engage in this battle, he will look over to the 2 of you and he will say, "Please, we should not be fighting right now."
Mid-lurch, as he kind of skids forward a little bit, he gains a moment of, he's pulled back to a moment of clarity. And he looks around and he noticed you've already just got shot from somewhere. He sees more guards coming down. And he looks back at Yuvari. He looks pretty upset. And so what he ends up doing is he slowly lets go of the hilt of his rapier with his left paw. And he slowly then removes the scabbard from his belt, and he drops it to the floor, and then he just puts his hands up. He doesn't say anything, he just looks at the ground and just puts his paws up.
No. And you just see her just start to try and like crawl to Yuvari as if to like you just see this look like they're in a daze, like they just can't believe what's happening, and you see them just like reach, like almost have to try like shake her to get up.
And at this point, Yuvari is going to shakily reach for Yulia and try to beckon her a bit closer. I need you to do something for me.
Okay, but you need to get up, okay? We need to go, okay?
I can't feel anything. I need you to take these and she's going to pull out her 2 moon petals and like kind of just shove them into Yulia's hand and go, give these to Norshellus.
Aww.
Tell him I'm sorry.
You can tell him yourself, okay?
This is the end of the road. For me, I need you to do one more thing. I need you to find House Catan. And I need you to burn them to the fucking ground. Since I can't do it myself now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's all you hear her say. Is she has this look of like resigned, like she knows she can't do anything.
House Catan, remember that name.
Okay, I'll do it.
I believe in you. Or else I'll be shouting at you from my grave.
And at this point, Renarian, has also kind of fallen down onto his knees beside you, Yuvari, and you and Yulia will see that he attempts to begin casting a spell, but it appears whatever Yuvari had been shot with, whether it had been poisoned or something of the sort, his spells don't appear to do anything to help. And Yuvari, you've pulled Yulia close, giving unto her essentially your final wishes to hunt down House Catan, the people that you know were responsible for your parents' death. And Taffy, as you hold up your hands, your weapons drop to the floor, and you hear Samoya do the same from next to you. The guards begin to close in, and you notice one in particular steps forward, not a guard, but someone dressed in robes of this dark reddish purple color. And you see upon the front, there's this symbol of like almost a sort of eye shape with these sort of curving spines coming off of it at the corners. And you'll see their faces mostly obscured by a hood, and they lean in over to one of the guards, whispering something in their ear as you feel shackles soon put upon your arms. The guard nods to this robed figure, and they'll move forward to Samoya. And they reach out with one hand, and you see these arcane manacles kind of manifest themselves around her wrists. And they pull her away from you, and you just hear the robed figure saying something along the lines of, "Don't worry, little one. We'll find you someone nice in Afanak." And you see them begin to walk down the street.
Okay, so a couple questions. First, can I get a spelling of what is?
Oh, yes. Afanak. There you go, in the chat for you.
Okay. I need to, Taffy looks off in horror as Samoya just take it off. And secondly, do I recognize that voice? Does Taffy recognize that voice?
You do not recognize the voice, but you do but something about the way they're dressed kind of rings bells in your head. And as you think about it, you realize that that's a member of a guild known as the Arcane Eye. What was once a guild, now not officially recognized anymore. As it said, they're responsible for kidnappings and numerous trafficking cases across Edom.
Oh no! No! Oh, Taffy just got Samoya trafficked. Oh no.
Oh God.
So you went, your few companions kind of following along cautiously behind you as you unleashed a powerful fireball spell upon one of the watchtowers closest to the fishing district, killing the 3 soldiers stationed there. And as more closed in upon your location, you urged your friends to run, leaving you behind. And you put up as best of a fight as you could, even taking out another guard with a few more powerful spells slung at them, but they overwhelmed you with number and force, as you soon find yourself dragged, half-conscious, through the city towards the prison. It sort of maybe takes you a few moments to adjust to your surroundings, and you realize you're leaned up against one of the cold stone walls, and you pick your head up, blinking as you realize you can't open one of your eyes because it just feels so swollen from where you'd been punched by one of the soldiers. And you look out across the cell, and it seems rather empty for the most part. You hear, from just outside, the scuttling of rats across the floor, and you hear chit-chat from further down the hall. You're not sure whether guards or maybe some other people in another cell next to you. As far as the one you're in, there's not much here. You see the odd bits of rubble kind of laying about. You see one wall has a couple of... calling them cots would be an overstatement, as they look more like flimsy boards of plywood that have had sheets thrown on them in the form of some kind of spot to sleep that wasn't the floor, but is probably just as uncomfortable. You see in one of the far corners, there's a rather small figure curled up, has a hood over their head, and you can see these large ears poking out from the hood side. But they don't look up at you right away, and you can't tell if maybe they're asleep or not. And you look and see a little further off to the side. Sorry, give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. You look a little further over, and you see the figure of a man, leaning up against another wall, just sitting on the ground, his legs folded beneath him. He's wearing rather dirty clothes, like he's probably been in here for a while. Has a couple of scratches here and there. His face is half covered in dirt. And he has long, very long, bright orange hair that's half knotted and the rest of it dirty, from misuse and neglect. And he seems to be perhaps asleep or trancing, as you realize the ears poking out from beneath his hair are pointed. And though it's a little difficult to see in the dim light of the torchlight, thanks to your dark vision, you can pick out that half of his face is discolored and scarred, as if from a burn. So as you kind of come back to consciousness, though you're in pain, your thoughts kind of regather themselves from the beating you had been subjected to. What do you do?
So, kind of like rolling my head forward, feeling it just pounding against the temples, and just letting out this very low, like, kind of sound. He'll reach up and grab what remains of the mask that had been, like, around his hair, and just sort of lifts it up and just throws it. And he can feel, like, the whole left side of his face is just swollen. He can't even barely see out of one of his eyes. His lips feel like they're swollen. And, he lifts his head up enough to sort of put his arm underneath the lengths of his braids and just kind of slowly, painfully lift them over one of his shoulders. He sees the guy in the corner of the room, you know, kind of greenish looking ears. He's seen something like that before, but he's not going to say anything. Probably not best to immediately start picking fights in a jail cell. And he'll look at the person that you had described, and he'll kind of, like, lull his head toward them after a minute. I'm assuming he's, like, probably closest to the door.
Narcellus or the other guy?
Narcellus, like, he just got, like, put in there.
Yeah, they, like, pretty much opened the door and, like, threw you against the wall right next to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, like, flexing his fingers a few times, not feeling like he's able to get up. He'll just kind of, like, see the red hair, and he'll say, Ari, did they get you too?
And as soon as you say that, you see the man's eyes, like, shoot open. You know, this very vibrant green color. And indeed, he looks very much like Runarian, like your friend. And as he lifts his head and looks up at you, getting a better look at you here in the torchlight, his brow furrows as if in confusion, before lifting as his eyes widen in this mixture of shock and surprise and confusion. And you just hear him, without getting up, you hear him say, Narcellus?
Yeah, that is my name. And he'll just slowly push himself up off the wall a little bit. And, like, you can tell he's upset. Like, even as they brought him in here, he had been crying. And he leans forward just enough, and you hear him, like, seethe from the pain that's kind of ebbing in different parts of his body. And he says, God, I thought you were a friend. I guess all wood elves really do look the same.
And you see the elf has gotten up onto his feet. And at your words, he gives... You see maybe the corner of his mouth twitch, like he wants to smile or find it funny. But perhaps just can't quite get there given the situation you both are in. And you see he begins to take a step forward towards you, and all of a sudden the shadows at your feet gather, darker than before. And before long, they're jumping up and lunge at this man as Resh takes shape out of your shadow.
Oh.
And you see he grabs the elf by the collar of his shirt and holds him there and says, not another step, Caraniel.
Narcellus will just sort of, like, lift his head up and just, like, whips his hand up to his head from the fucking, like, head rush and just turns. He's like, oh, when the hell did you get there?
Like at Resh?
Resh.
Resh will look over his shoulder at you, and he'll say, I've been in your shadow.
You watched me get the shit kicked out of me? Oh, that's it. No, I gotta die. This is it. This is it for me. leans
you-
himself forward. Go ahead.
You hear the elven man say, "You did what?" And Resh just kind of like gives this low growl at him as you see him then like shove the man up against one of the walls.
Okay. He'll grab onto the wall and kind of just like seethe as he gets into a standing position. Mostly, he's bent over, using both of his hands to kind of steady himself. The room kind of spins a little, and he says, "Okay, ladies, can we not fight? I've got some questions."
And you hear Resh like give this hissing sort of sigh as he continues to stand there, the two staring at one another. And at that point, Narcellis, you can almost like taste this tension in the air. But Resh does let go and backs off as he goes to stand by your side once more. And you see the elf kind of give this sigh of relief as some of the tension leaves his shoulders, but his gaze doesn't leave Resh as he asks you, Narcellis, what are you doing back in Vaalguard?
And at that question, his eyes go wide suddenly, like he's just suddenly remembered something. And he feels like his chest gets tight with this overwhelming anger. And his facial expression that was just previously joking just collapses, and the palms of his hands kind of blacken a little and start to heat up red, and he turns toward the bars of the cell and just casts I hope I don't need to link this. He's going to cast Firebolt twice in an X position, attempting to break the metal of the cell, and you hear this just like kind of noise come out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay. So yeah, you turn to the cell door, and you know the anima comes swirling into your hands as you blast the metal with Firebolt twice, in fact. And whereas the spell might, in some cases, be enough to melt some of the metal, or at the very least damage it, as the fire, blasts into the door, you notice that as some of the smoke clears away that had followed in the wake of the flames, that the door is unharmed. Make a perception check for me as well.
Okay, let's see. So we should just keep this open. I see everything.
Oh, he is on the wrong layer. Haha, there he is.
There he be.
19. So you do see, as your spell blasts against the cell door, while it doesn't appear to do any damage, you catch something bright and glowing on the floor. And as your gaze flickers down to look at it, you see the shape of an arcane circle. And it reminds you very much of the ones from Philisera and Mithranve, where, usually it was meant to be placed in areas to keep people out that would otherwise polymorph them into spiders or worse. And while this may not be a polymorph spell circle, it's certainly probably affecting the door in some way. As the flames vanish from your firebolt, the arcane circle almost also vanishes from sight.
And as he looks at this, you hear this sort of just like kind of laughter as he recognizes that it's an arcane seal. And he curls his fingers around some of the less hot metal and leans his forehead in against it, and he just says, Resh, I need you to get me out of here. 4 of them wasn't enough. I'm going to kill every last fucking one of them.
And you'll see Resh, without saying anything, vanishes again into the shadows. And as he does so, the elf, Valdvin, looks at you, Narcellis, and he'll say, what is going on?
What? That's all he'll say as he turns and looks over his shoulder.
And you'll see Foldman's brow is like creased together in this look of just confusion, really, as he's looking at you. And he'll say, Narcellis, what happened?
We came back to get you.
What?
What?
And he kind of seems at like a loss for words in that moment. And as he's trying to perhaps gather his thoughts, you'll see kind of out of the corner of your eye, he's using your perception roll, you see the arcane circle suddenly light up again, and Resh reappears right in front of the cell door, still inside of the cell with you both. And you hear him make this like frustrated sigh as he's just, I can't get past it.
What do you mean you can't get past it? You're a gloom stalker. Stalk the gloom.
Blue.
It's magically warded.
Okay. So, hang on. And he'll pause. And he'll bring both of his hands up to his face and kind of press on his sinuses, and he'll say, you can't get out of the cell.
No.
So we're both stuck here.
Unless... And you see him begin to kind of pat at his pockets like he's searching for something. And then he'll stop, this look of realization coming over him as he looks down at you. And he'll just say, what did you do with my stoles?
They had our house symbol on them, so I threw them away.
Those had my lockpicks in it.
Oh.
And at that, he'll just turn back toward the cell door, and he will cast Fireball again, and make the same awful sound.
And still the same reaction, where the arcane seal on the outside of the cell will light up, and nothing will be damaged.
He'll... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, as you do that, Rush kind of takes a step back, not wanting to get burned by your spell.
Narcellis is going to turn around with this same brow furrowed, very angry expression, and he'll just look at Faldman and he'll just say, this is all your fault.
And Faldman at that, seems to get this guilty look on his face, as his gaze averts momentarily before he'll look back at you and say, yes, it is.
That's all you have to say? And he'll get a little bit closer to Faldman and he'll say, the whole damn fishing district burnt down.
It what?
Your Karath's blades, and apparently the damn temple, burnt down the fishing district.
They are not mine. I was thrown in here the day after you all left. No. I guess that explains the smell of smoke.
I see. So, the fact that the queen was killed using drow poison, and the fact that they blocked Fowlin into his house and made him burn to death has nothing to do with one another?
mentioning Fallon, Faldman seems to get this almost like somewhat horrified look on his face momentarily before he tries to pull himself together a little, but still looking rather distraught. And he'll say, they did? Fallon?
Yeah, he's dead. He's dead, and there's no body. Don't apologize.
He'll sigh. Just say, I know that when last you were all here, I did not make excellent decisions. I made very poor ones.
Can I interrupt him?
Yeah?
Marcellus is going to draw his arm back and he's going to punch Baldwin.
Yeah.
As he should.
Where's he aiming?
That.
I was waiting for somebody to
jaw.
do this.
Yeah, Fulvin doesn't expect it. So yeah, you punch him right square in the jaw. He kind of has to maybe take like a half step to catch himself, and then he kind of just looks at you in shock.
Marcellus just says, just clearly his posture has kind of curled inward, and his shoulders and his elbows are shaking. He says, all of this, I wanted someplace that wouldn't look at me and say, oh no, you're too human, oh no, you're too drow, you don't act right, you don't look right. And I thought I found that when, the whole fucking time I had it, and now it's gone. And there's nothing that I can do to let that man know how much I appreciate what he did. This is your fault.
Faldman at that just doesn't seem to really have much he can say, as he'll just say quietly, fortunately, I won't argue with you. My actions have led to this. If there's someone you would like to blame, then let it be me.
Let it.
It is me.
Yeah, it is you.
I never meant for this to happen.
Yeah. If you didn't want me around anymore, you could have just said so. You didn't have to chase me out.
It wasn't about that. Of course I wanted you around.
You told me to get out.
Because I couldn't protect you anymore.
Marcellus will just kind of look at Resh for a minute, kind of like this. Like, he's upset. He's probably starting to cry again, and he's trying not to. But he just has, this look of, what the fuck?
Resh doesn't look at you. He just has his gaze, fixed on Faldwin at the moment. And, Faldwin will continue with, I'm sure you figured out, yes, I killed the queen. No, I did not do it because I wanted her power, her position. It wasn't really my main motive. He sighs and runs a hand into his hair. I had gone to her, talking to her about some of the things that had gone on, and bringing up my concerns about what your mother had been up to, though I tried not to go into.
You brought my family into this?
I was concerned she would do what she did to you to more people.
It's really none of your concern.
I would like to think it is, when it was my job to protect this country.
So you think I'm a weapon?
Not you, perhaps. It's not saying it can't be used as one in someone else's hands.
With how much he's shaking, it's clear it's taking everything in his power not to go for another hit.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Do it. Do it for Yuvari.
I'll tell you what happened in the months that we were gone. They sent Captain Vontis to protect the Damavon Range and block our exit. They burnt down Eastoft. So I had to do the only thing that I could think of to keep your son and the princess and the rest of our party safe. I brought them to Philisera.
And like you see Faldwin like let out a sigh as he kind of runs one hand over his face. And he'll just say, so that's where you went.
Yes. And I dealt with my mother in the best way that I could. We went through the undersea and we went to Mithranve. And, time and time again, I have tried to be as useful as I can in making sure that everybody stays alive. It doesn't matter if I do. It matters if they do. I've always understood from my mother's point of view that I am the expendable one, and I come to find out now that all of this is because you thought that I was some kind of dangerous thing?
Not you. At the time, I was, I suppose, concerned with the people of this country being put in danger, but regardless, Mionin took this as me wanting more bloodshed and said, "Fine, General, then you can start with the fishing district, or perhaps the half-drow that has been running around your home."
Yeah, well, now Fallen's dead, so maybe you should have started with me.
I couldn't. I wouldn't do that.
I can't do this now. Now we're stuck in a cage. Now I'm going to be executed right next to you. Resh, you weren't even supposed to be in this cage. What am I gonna say if the guards come back? I gave birth to an older drow?
And as you've all been kind of going back and forth amongst yourselves, the smaller figure in the corner has been stirring from time to time, but between everything, you don't notice this. And, they kind of blink open their very yellowy eyes from beneath the hood covering their face. Awakening because of the shouting and, the raised and angry voices coming from inside the cell. When before it had been nicely quiet and he was able to at least get in a nice nap while he was down here. And, he lifts his head to the three of you. And Eliza, if you could please describe this goblin for us.
Alright. 1 second to update this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So, this goblin that's sitting in the corner of the jail cell is obviously smaller. He's a goblin, but he's about 3 feet tall. He has very long, dark black hair that's in a braid, but it's not groomed as much as it should be. It's kind of a messy braid. And he has this ruddy, kind of earthy green skin and not an elongated nose, but it's pretty bulbous. And he just kind of has this kind of not smug, but kind of just a smile on his face, kind of, just watching it all happen. He was trying to take a nap, so he's kind of grumpy about it. So he's like, well, I guess they put me in here. That's great. Beautiful family reunion. But yeah, and he has
out loud, or
no, he doesn't want to die.
He just mumbles it.
Fair.
He doesn't want to die.
Yeah, he doesn't want to die. There you go. Everything should be updated now. But and he also has piercings along his ear. He's a cool goblin.
He's a cool goblin.
And he's just watching the scene. Doesn't want to say anything too stupid. Because all three of them look very strong and intimidating, and they're all sharing a cell.
Fair enough.
Marcellus just looks over at this goblin and narrows his eyes as he sees the golden eyes pop up, and he just goes, "What the hell are you looking at?"
Well, there's 3 of you, and I only have 1 pair of eyes. I guess I'm looking at you.
Stupid goblin.
Not original. Heard that before. And he leans back against the wall and just kind of stares at the trio with his arms crossed over his chest.
And Narcellus at that will kind of look at Resh and then look back at this goblin, and he's like, "Well, unless you have something to add to the conversation about getting the fuck out of here, then maybe you should keep your eyes to yourself."
I mean, if they hadn't taken my thieves' tools, I could probably pick our way out of here, but... Then he stretches out his arms and just kind of continues to lean back against the wall, looking at all 3 of them. Gauging what they're wearing, how they're behaving, and all that good stuff.
Right now I'm trying to move stuff around.
Are you good?
The lad.
The lad. Look at that glorious beard.
And Marcellus will kind of roll his eyes a little bit and turn to Falvin, and he'll say, "Off topic, but I think you owe me this at least. Where exactly are the... What's the word I'm looking for? Me trying to think of the word in English. Where exactly would I find General Regath?"
And Baldwin kind of thinks over that for a moment. He'll say, well, from what I've caught in conversation, she's likely either in one of the larger military camps up north, or she might be in the castle, but she's more than likely rallying the troops.
Okay, which camp would she be at?
And Baldwin has to kind of take a longer moment to think that over, as he's perhaps still a little disoriented at the moment. And he'll say, I'm not sure I know what the name of it is, but it's going to be whatever the largest one is. Probably rather close to Darkwood.
Baldwin, there are dozens of military encampments outside the city.
Yes, I understand. Here, give me 1 second, I have to... Trying to find the name of it. Because I thought we had one. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just going crazy.
I think so.
Hmm.
Weird. Yeah, I thought like for sure we had a name for it, but I guess not. Huh. Okay.
Either way, look, the sooner that everybody else realizes what's going on and that we're missing, I'm sure it'll be either Taffy or Renarian who come up with some way to get us out of here, and then I can go and find her, and I can kill her.
That's not... And as Faldvin begins to say this, you hear from out in the hallway a door open. And you hear the sound of multiple footsteps shuffling in and stomping upon the ground, both, leather, and you hear metal clinking together as well. And you see a soldier come up to past the cell door, kind of looking in and giving a glare over all of you. And Narcellus, you'll note, as they walk by, they're followed by a few other figures.
Oh god.
Here we go.
Here we
God.
go.
One of them, a tabaxi, looking...
He's not looking
hurt.
great.
He's upset. He's staring down at the ground as he goes, his wrists shackled together in front of him. Following behind is a pink tiefling with purple hair, looking nauseous and ill, her face streaked with tears. And behind them is a wood elf, very similar to Faldvin, with wavy orange hair kept in multiple large braids sitting over his shoulders. His green eyes narrowed and his brow furrowed in something akin to concern. And you'll hear doors opening as they're shoved into cells nearby. And the guards take their leave.
Narcellus immediately looks at all three of them and just goes, "Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me."
This will just take me a moment to get everyone on here, but it's fine.
You good? Yeah. Are we in the same cell? Or are we in different cells?
I'll tell you in 1 second here.
Okay.
So you find yourselves fairly split up into separate cells. Actually, hold on, give me 1 second.
No, you good.
Okay.
Sorry, had to do some math.
Man.
That's fine. Hold on. One more question for you there. Okay, perfect. So, Runarian, actually, you see, will get pushed into the same cell as Narcellus and Resh and Faldvin and this little goblin that's in the corner. Yulia and Taffy, you guys are put into another cell just across the way. And you'll see there's two other people in here. One of them is sitting on one of the wooden quote-unquote cots. He has a black hood up covering his face, wearing mostly like darker covered clothing, has his arms folded over his chest, head bowed down so you can't see his face in the dim light of the cell. And you'll see the second figure is standing at the moment. Has his back against one of the walls, having stood up as you guys were pushed in. And as soon as you see him, Taffy, though you hear Narcellus's voice, kind of speak up as the three of you are brought in, your gaze is focused upon this particular man who looks beat to hell and back. Like he has been through a few rounds with a few too many fists, covered in bruises and cuts, and has a couple of pressure wounds on him. But you do recognize this man.
Oh.
I apparently have a picture of him somewhere. Hold on. He's here somewhere.
He's here somewhere.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Who's that Pokemon?
Yeah. Okay. But you do recognize him. He's got, fair skin with short brown hair that's half like sticking out haphazardly from his head, and the other half is kind of stuck down from like sweat onto the top of his head, and very dark eyes that kind of regard you with a mixture of uncertainty and perhaps worry, almost. You're not entirely sure. And you will see, it's Gwen.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, all right. Just let me know when I can go.
Here, one second. I'm getting this thing uploaded here.
Okay.
I'm trying.
This jail cell situation just keeps getting wilder
Why
and
is he-
wilder.
Oh,
Honestly.
man,
I
this
love
is
that we put the 2 level 12s away from the murder.
Uh-huh.
the murder.
Yeah.
There you go.
he
There's
is.
Gwen.
There's Gwen. How you doing, Gwen? Oh boy.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you guys are put in the cell, so Taffy, we'll go ahead and I'll let you respond first.
Oh, there's gonna be a response, all right. So,
boy.
yeah. He's looking at the floor. He's pushed into the cell. At first, he doesn't notice. He's kind of pacing around as they situate him, everything. And then kind of walking in circles. And then he's like, okay, all right, they took Samoya, and he's mumbling to himself, like, hey, what are we gonna do now? And then he's like, then he looks up and starts surveying the cell he's in, and then he looks over and he makes eye contact with Gwen. And he kind of glances at him, and then he keeps glancing around, and then he stops and he double takes back, and his eyes go wide and his pupils narrow down as he just stares at Gwen, the fur bristling on the back of his neck, his tail aggravatedly swishing about. And then I don't know how Gwen's reacting to Taffy starting to slowly just become a ball of angry.
All of it.
And here I'm throwing up the picture of the other guy who's in here with you.
Okay. Well, he's in the splash zone,
hey,
so
I know this man.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
it's fine. And so you just hear Taffy just through a very sort of low growl, sort of like this low meow, kind of like cat noise. He just, you.
And Gwen's eyes just go wide as he like kind of presses himself further against the wall of the cell, and he's just like, Taffy, so good to see you.
And he at this point, Taffy's been trying to restrain himself, right? This whole time. He's seen one of his friends just die. His girlfriend just got carted off by people who he knows like traffics other people. Shit's hitting the fan. He's been going for like the last however many weeks with where it just hits him. It just stabs him. It just piles up, and you just see Taffy just snap. I don't know who's paying attention, but he just snaps. Yulia. As
soon as he said "you," that got Yulia's attention, because I think the tone of his voice would have just like startled her more. She would have been like, "Oh no."
He you can like his paws are shaking, so you can like hear the rattling of the cuffs on him, and then he just bolts like unnaturally. Like he uses his kitty movement, and he just crosses the cell in like speed, and he pins Gwen up to the wall. Now I can't remember, was Gwen like a halfling, or was he a?
No, he was a human.
It was a human. Okay. Probably
about Taffy's height, if not a little shorter.
Okay. I don't know how rage-fueled just pins him against the wall, pushes him up a little bit, and all you hear him say is, "Do you have any idea what you have done?"
And as you pin him up against the wall, you hear him suck in this sharp breath as he's just like, Taffy, I never meant for this to happen.
The smallest of actions have disastrous consequences if not thought through.
I found that out. Man, help me out here! As he looks over to the hooded figure, and you see the guy kind of lifts his head slightly. You still can't quite see his face. You can just see his chin, which is covered in this black stubble, and you'll just hear him say, "I ain't helping you out of this one." And Taffy and Yulia, make a history check for me.
Oh baby.
Oh boy.
Are we still poisoned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you roll with disadvantage.
Oh, disadvantage. Okay. I'll go on. Oh god. Yulia needs some sort of W tonight.
Not bad.
Okay.
So Taffy, as the hooded figure speaks up, he sounds vaguely familiar, but you're not sure from where or why. You can't really seem to pinpoint who this guy is. And you are so focused on Gwen right now that you are pinning against the wall with your paws that you don't really care.
He made a side glance and was like, "Are you going to get involved?" And he said no, and I'm like, okay. Taffy went right back to focus on Gwen.
You don't want the smoke. You do not.
And Yulia, as you are kind of left there on your own, maybe leaning up against the wall for some support, as you hear the hooded figure speak up, you realize you recognize him. It feels like it was a lifetime ago at this point when last you heard his voice, or last that you ever knew of him. And you realize, you're fairly certain, though you can't see his face yet, that it's Sturkin.
Ooh! All right.
Oh, man.
All right. I'm ready for it. So.
Why did you put
Yulia?
We're about to snap.
This
is Yulia's moment right now. All right, so she's getting up. She's just about to stop Taffy from doing anything stupid. But as soon as she hears the voice, she just freezes, and no one can really see the expression on her face. But she does turn to the hooded figure. And just the memory of his voice just sets her whole head and her whole body on fire. And she just slowly turns at him. And this man is going to see yellow, angry, hatred-filled eyes as she slowly starts making her way towards him. And I'm assuming we had our weapons taken away, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Okay. Well, since tieflings have sharper nails, you just kind of see her, like, curling some of her fingers and starts reaching for his neck and just grabs hold of him. And she just leans in real close and she says, not whispering to Salano's like, give me one reason I shouldn't slit your fucking throat right now.
This confuses
my
Taffy. Like, Taffy's like, whoa. It kind of, like, it stuns him a little bit. Like, he throws him, he's like, what is happening? But, he's gonna let whatever's happening over there happen. He's busy with Quinn. It just kind of caught him for a few seconds off guard. That Yulia just ran after this guy. He's like, it must be someone else that she knows.
Live your best life, Yulia. Pop off.
Question.
Yes.
Being that they're all in the same space, can Narshas address anyone?
Yeah,
Literally
so
anyone with a question.
Yeah, so Narcellis, Runarian is shoved into the cell with all of you, and, you see your other two friends across the way, and you see, you kind of see and kind of hear Taffy say you as he seems to go lunging after someone. You see Yulia even turns around to this guy who had spoken up and, like, grabs at him. So, yeah, what would you like to say in this moment?
So first he'll just kind of look up at Runarian with this face that just says, like, how the hell did you get caught? Like, he won't say it out loud, but it's there. And then he'll look at Faldman, and then he'll look at Ari, and he'll look at Resh. Like, move over and look in at Yulia and Taffy. He'll go, hold on. Wait. Okay, 1, where is Yuvari? 2, what the fuck is going on?
And Ari will be the one to speak up, as it seems the others in the other cell are a little occupied.
They're a little busy.
And he'll look at you, Narcellis. He's been looking like at Faldman this whole time since he's entered in, just kind of standing where the soldiers had shoved him in. And as you finally speak up, it seems to kind of snap him from his thoughts. And he'll look over at you and say, well, we decided we would, go find some of their friends who are still here in the city. We started at the bakery, where I think some of Yulia's friends were living, and, it turns out one of them died, apparently, because they were caught being involved with us, and she called the guards on us, more or less, I think.
Okay.
And his gaze kind of like falls to the floor as he seems like a little lost for words for a moment. And Yuvari's...
She's dead.
Michelle just kind of gives him this incredulous look at first, and then, like, looks at Resh, and then looks at Ari, and he's like, when you mean she's dead?
We were surrounded as soon as we left the bakery, and
What do you mean she's dead?
she summoned this firewall and all the guards sitting there, and
What do you mean she's dead?
she was shot in the chest twice. I tried to heal her, but it wouldn't work.
And Marcellus just goes over to the bars and just grabs them. And he'll yell back at Yulia, and he just goes, "You got Yuvari killed?"
Oh god.
Oh.
Oh god.
And just for you, Yulia, while you had grabbed Sturkin by the neck, he's looking up at you incredulously as his like hands go to your arms to kind of keep you from strangling him. And he just says, I'd like to see you try, little girl.
Oh.
Oh.
Playing
Alright.
with fire, man.
I'm
That
gonna
is
address
the
this
spirit
man.
of Yuvari ascends to hell. And just punches Sturkin in the throat.
If only.
I'm gonna address this man first, and then I'll address Narshella. So she just looks at him and said, "Have you ever felt the way a tiefling's teeth will just tear at your skin? Because I will do it." And then she hears Narshellis, and that just flips the switch, and her face immediately breaks because her eyes were already puffy, and now new tears spring into her face, and she just lets go of this man who is at the moment now not worth her time, and she's crying again. The tears string anew, and she turns to Narshellis, and she just looks him in the eye and says, "I suppose." Yeah.
What do you mean, you suppose?
I already got one friend killed, someone's wife killed, because I thought that warning them about what was going on was going to help them. And it just made things worse. And I thought they could help. And she's right. I did get her killed. And then Yuvari. And she can't say anything else.
And Rissa, I apologize. This is not coming from me. This is coming from Narshellis.
It's all good.
He just growls, and you just hear, "Get over yourself!" It's your fault that Yuvari is dead. Just say it. There's no supposing. And instead of sitting there going, oh no, I guess it is my fault. I suppose it is my fault. Fucking do something about it.
Right.
And go ahead.
You're right. And she looks back up at him, and she said, "I don't know. No, that's not right. Nothing I do will bring her back, but I am going to do something. I will do whatever it takes to fix this."
You can't fix it, Yulia.
I know.
You know how many times I tried to fix Zrest dying? My brother died because I was too fucking stupid and too fucking cowardly to step in and stop my mother. So yeah, I get it. But at some point, you have to do something else. Whatever you can to at least make that person, their death matter. And sitting here threatening people in prison and crying over what you suppose happened isn't gonna get us out of here.
And you know, she's just taking it because she hears the truth of it. It's like it does hit her, and she stands up a little more. And it's like, "You're right." And Yuvari asked me to do something, and I'm going to do it. But first, and she turns back to Sturkin and said, "I am going to deal with with a man who brought us all together in the first place and thought it would be grand to have us involved in the murder of the queen.
Starkin?
Yeah, he's right here.
Oh, okay, be my guest.
At that point, Taffy, like, because he was sort of listening, so he was listening to all of that, and he was waiting for it to, like, you know, clap back at Gwen over here, and then it was Starkin's name gets dropped, and Taffy looks over, and it's like, and then he just gets even angrier, realizing that oh that's Starkin, and then he slow turns back to Gwen. He's just looking at him, still pinning him against the wall, by the way, and you can feel like Starkin can feel like the muscles in Taffy's arms are very tense and they're like shaking. Like he's about ready to draw out his claws and just see how well natural weapons work against this dude's face. But he's something is keeping him, something is holding him back. And he's got, you know, when a cat makes that low like annoyed growling sound. He lets out one of those, and then, you know, he then responds with this. Do you see all this? Do you hear all of this? Do you see the pain that all of these people are currently undergoing? Everyone here in this dungeon right now. This is all because you decided to help an assassin. Do you understand what you have done?
Yeah, Taffy, you know, yeah, okay, maybe I did. All right, yeah, I sold myself out to an assassin guild because the money was good. All right, I got
the money was good. The money was good. That's your goddamn God's. You work for the Padlock Guild. We are better than that. We are not common thieves. We don't help assassins. We don't murder people. And yet here we are. Gwen.
Hey, departed from thieves. So.
Don't you even finish that sentence. You know better. You should have known better.
And, Gwen doesn't really seem to have much more to say. He's just looking away from you at this point. You know, his brow like furrowed together, this look of, you know, clear blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. Yeah,
Blah,
what's
blah,
up?
blah.
I do want to say, only because I've talked to Renard about this before, ages ago. I'd like Marcellus, since he's up against the bars watching it, I'd like him to say something.
Do it.
Okay.
You already know. You already know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Marcellus is going to lean his forehead in, and he's just going to say, "Do it, Taffy.
Oh.
He deserves it. Do it, Taffy."
And meanwhile...
Oh man, I was okay.
Meanwhile,
The cliffhangers. Oh.
Meanwhile, across the city.
oh yeah, Arca, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, he's doing great.
Is he? Yeah, we're having a great time over here.
Yeah.
All right, Arca. Save the party. It's all on
Please.
you, buddy.
Captain America, dive in again, save our asses.
I hope you're back. I hope you did stretches because you're gonna carry this party out here.
Oh, boy.
So last we left Arca, Narcellus had unleashed his fireball blast on the watchtower in the city, and he urged you and the rest of your companions to run. And so you did, with Nialkish and Aoife, as you all ran further into the city. Due to now the quickly rising panic at the sudden explosion, it's not long before you realize you've lost Aoife in the crowd. While Nialkish is essentially glued to your side. And not only that, but you find yourself stopping in alarm as you note the very familiar figure of an Aarakocra swiftly approaching you, waving their arm to get your attention. He has these bright orange eyes that seem to be filled with this look of excitement at seeing you, yet also something that looks maybe almost like panic. And as he approaches, he's very small, he's very young. There's a youthful look to the shine in his feathers and the way he's fluffed out, both out of his excitement and fear taking him over. He has mostly white feathers, much like you, with a small yellow crest that's currently sticking up from his head. And a hooked black beak. And he looks up at you, Arca, your little brother, and he'll say, Arca, I didn't think I would run into you here. What was that? As he, points in the direction of where the explosion had happened behind you.
That was... And Arca is, he's kind of lost for words because he's been blindsided by this, so he kind of crouches down to meet his little brother's eyes, and he's like, Kavi, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be on the karst. Oh god, we don't have time. And he just grabs this picture.
There he is! The baby boy.
No, that's too cute.
The baby!
The baby!
Oh my god.
Oh.
I love that that's what got you, Rana.
Yeah. Oh, I got caught off guard by adorable, yeah.
Uh-huh. And, as you say that, you'll see, his crest starts to fall, and he kind of, gathers his arms, close to his chest, and he'll say, well, you see, there's a lot going on at home, and I came here looking for you because we really need your help, and I really need your help. And, his eyes start to grow suddenly very watery.
And Arca will lean down and hug him and kind of lift him up into the air as he does so. And he's like, it's okay, I'm here, but oh god, we need to move.
Javi will very quickly hug you back very tightly. And he just kind of nods his head as he clings to you as you pick him up. And Nialkish will, having been rather quiet with the two of you, looks between you and then out towards the rest of the city, and she'll say, yes, I agree that we really should go. I just don't know where we're supposed to go.
There's nowhere that's exactly safe.
Is there anyone you know in the city, Arca?
Oh, maybe. There's a carpenter who lives here. He used to be part of the Swift Cloaks. If he's still in town, then we might have a safe place to stay.
All right. I'll let you lead the way then if you remember the way there.
Yeah, it's slightly north of the temple. I think we can get there through the back alleys. We just have to be fast and avoid any detection. And he starts to lead the way through the city. And yeah, still, he's going at a very fast pace, but like making sure that Nyalkish stays close, because he doesn't want to lose her right now. That would be bad.
Yeah. And yet you make your way through the city. The, commotion that was stirred up by by what Nershalis did seems to have grabbed almost everyone's attention, and no one really gives the three of you a second glance as you quickly make your way away from the scene. Everyone probably assuming you're just fleeing away from whatever the hell just happened.
Okay.
And
Thanks.
and
You're welcome.
you oh
Thanks, Nershalis, for the fireball distraction.
oh
Very
yeah
kind.
yeah
Thank you,
Thanks.
Tabton.
And you make your way through narrow streets and past some of the busier ones, as most of the streets now this time of day are very, very crowded. And, you're holding your brother close, and you can feel Nyalkish kind of has one hand just holding like the hem of your shirt as she quickly keeps pace with you. And you get out of the fishing district, and you pass by an old inn that you had usually stayed at on occasion, that was run by a Triton, if you remembered right. However, looking at it now, the place looks surprisingly empty and abandoned, almost, just here on the edge of what had been burnt down. But you quickly move past it, down an old forge as well, and then finally to the abode of Robert, the carpenter. And you see his workshop is much the same as when last you left it, with all sorts of wood piled neatly in separate spots. And his tools kind of laying about from whatever projects he might have been in the middle of. And you don't see him right away, however, outside working on anything. And as you're approaching, intending on going inside to find him or begin looking around, you hear loud voices shouting from nearby.
Uh-oh.
Not towards you, but it's like a heated argument. And hold on, give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Okay. And you'll hear one voice shouting, yeah, we know you took that, so hand it over there. And softer, kind of androgynous voice, you can't really pick up what it is, saying something along the lines of, I really have no idea what you all are talking about. I would never steal. And you hear them give this sort of like huff of air as they're pushed by one of the guards and just about knock into you, Arca. And you have to kind of take a step to gain your balance as you look to your side to see who it is that has been getting into some argument. And Anna, if you could please describe
There you
yourself
go.
for us.
Yes. So the current person who has now been sort of shrugged into the vicinity of Arca and the rest of the gang is sort of like a tall, sort of swashbuckling looking, half human, half Triton. They have a long, like, black hair that's sort of just like haphazardly just like flying around their face. Skin that's tinged almost like a pinkish purple. They're covered in just a wide array of piercings on their face, and on what little can be seen of, you know, their arms through sort of like the edges of the jacket they wear. It's very clear that it isn't just like a human, from the way that they're sort of like hands, as they sort of flail at their sides, have a little bit of webbing in between the fingers, and they sort of like are knocked back into Arca by one of the guards, and without sort of missing a beat, throw one of their arms around Arca's shoulders, and sort of say, "I didn't steal anything. You can ask my friend here." As if they're like trying to search for the name of the Aarakocra they are now in the personal space of.
Oh my god.
They can vouch for me. I have stolen nothing, right, friend? My feathered friend.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Damn.
My
Arca's
feathered
like,
friend.
Arca like just gives this half Triton who he doesn't know. He's just met. He gives him like this like incredulous kind of look, just very briefly, before just turning to the guard and saying, Yeah, he hasn't stolen anything. You are a very respectable citizen.
You see them just like nod their head and say, you see, you wonderful officers of the city, of the law. I haven't stolen anything. My friend can attest to this. Promise, I'll stay out of trouble from now on.
Go ahead and give me a persuasion check, Arca.
Oh boy.
Please, Arca, please help a brother out.
It'll be really funny if it fails still.
Oh no!
I'm not gonna lie.
I believe in you.
I believe in you.
Persuasion. Where? There it is.
Oh.
Oh, okay. He's
Oh,
very
all
precise.
right.
Yes.
All right.
So the guard who had been heckling this half Triton man, person, kind of gives you a look over, Arca, looks back at them, looks back at you, and just kind of like gives a sniff as he like curls up his nose and he says, "Fine, just watch yourself," he'll say to your character, Anna, before he kind of walks away, a little in a huff, but leaves you alone.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
fucking welcome, whoever the hell you are.
Ooh.
And
It's a little spicy.
as he should be. And the Triton, the half Triton, just sort of looks at him, with sort of a blank expression for a moment, and then, if almost realizing that he's forgotten, that, you know, they've forgotten all of their manners, sort of does a very graceful sort of half bow at the waist, like one hand tucked to his chest and the other one out to the side, and he says, "My apologies, Captain Riven, at your service." Thank you.
So much already.
Love it.
10 out of 10, I approve.
Wonderful.
I love him.
Oh. Captain Riven? Oh, so you're a pirate. You really did steal something, didn't you?
Riven sort of lifts his head and gives a sheepish grin and says, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. But
Who knows?
the guard's not gonna miss the few pieces of gold I did steal.
And,
Oh, God.
you'll Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Let's say, Riven, you'll see that this Aarakocra kind of standing in front of you. The feathers, you thought it was like the feathers of his chest are suddenly shifting, and you realize that he's actually holding a smaller Aarakocra in his arms, who turns its head to look at you with these wide, bright eyes. But he doesn't say anything. And meanwhile, at your side, Arca, Nyalkish kind of peeks her head around as she seems to kind of be glancing about nervously to make sure the soldier was gone. And she'll look over at you, Captain Ribbon, and she'll say, nice to meet you, I guess. And then she'll look up at Arca and say, but we really should be going.
Yeah, we can't stay out here too long. Well, it's been great knowing you, Mr. Captain Riven of...
Mr. Captain!
Mr. Captain Revan.
Now wait, and sort of, I'm assuming they're turning to leave, as Riven
Yeah.
just sort of
Probably
like,
about to, yeah.
yeah, Riven just sort of like reaches out a hand, and places it on like Arca's kind of turned shoulder. Again, there's no personal space with this person. Listen, normally, I wouldn't do something like this, but as you saved my hide, so to speak, seems like I owe you a debt.
Oh my
So,
God.
whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's hiding, I'm very good at that, or sneaking around, I'm also very good at that. Or, maybe, I saw you looking at this building, I don't know if you're trying to loot it or not, but I'm also very good at that.
We're not looting Robert's house, but and Arca kind of like turns back to look at the half Triton, kind of like looks him up and down, then like looks around, and he's kind of like mutters like, "Oh God, we are kind of short on allies right now. We could use help." Okay, and he just yanks Riven by his free hand and like drags him off towards Robert's
Oh
shop.
my god. Love that.
Thanks, guys. You adopted a half Triton.
You
sure
adopted
did.
a half
Captain.
Triton.
Mr. Captain Riven.
Mr. Captain
We're
Riven.
keeping
Mr.
them.
Captain Riven.
Yeah.
Listen, we need
Also,
someone
I
to.
just saw Eliza's name in the chat.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dead
Oh
homie.
yeah. I was dying earlier.
And
It's fine.
homie.
So yeah, Riven, you find yourself suddenly grabbed by this Aarakocra as he begins just hauling you off over to the carpentry building just across the way. And as you go, you don't know him, you don't know this little dragonborn girl that's with them. You just go along for the time being. And
yeah.
Arca, you go into Robert's workshop, looking around for the man, but you still don't see him immediately. So you think to yourself, perhaps he's inside, either taking a break or maybe doing something else. So you ascend the stairs that lead up to the second story, where you know his living quarters to be. And you go and knock on the door. still holding your brother in one arm and having let go of the half-triton to knock on the door. And after a few moments, the door opens just a small crack. And you can see the face of a man, just on the other side of it, very old and wrinkled with, graying hair. And he'll see you and say, Orca, is that you?
Robert the Builder. The one and only.
And the door opens a little more, and he looks very cautiously around and says, "It ain't safe for you to be here. What are you doing back in the city?"
We came here on a mission of sorts. Me and my friends, but it's gone sideways.
Okay, alright, just come in, you and your friends. It'll be safer inside. And he'll fully open the door and beckon for you all to come in.
And Arca steps in, and he very gently sets down his little brother. Now that they're not traveling around, and it's a relatively safe spot. And he gestures to Robert and says, "This guy is a friend of mine. You can trust him."
Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh boy, I hope I don't eat those words.
We'll do again a little bow.
Robert kind of looks a little cautiously at you, Riven, but he'll just nod his head to get you inside along with Nyelkish. And we'll close the door behind you all. And that's where we're gonna end tonight's session.
Oh my god.
My fingers are
Don't you
red.
know?